All praises to the Most High, all praises to the Most High. Blessed be the Ruach HaKodesh, and I'm Messiah Yahushua Mashiach. Greetings, Yazarel. And y'all already know, I have another message to share with the listening ears of Yah's people. And family, this one here will be entitled, Isaac was of the blessed seed. What became of Abraham's other 7 sons? But before I get off into that, family, play some of this song we love. Please, family, stay tuned for the whole video. It shouldn't be long. Wake up, it's time to give thanks. Just like your hands giving you another day. Heart's pumping, blood's flowing through your veins. Lift your hands and give all the praise. Don't you be ashamed to praise his name. Don't you be ashamed to praise him. Know that he's giving everything you need. Cast your cares upon him. Trusting that he's with you. Everything is done because of his only son. One day at a time, taking back what's rightfully mine. And doing my dance at the same time. Can't dance, snap your fingers like this. Know that the joy of the hour is your strength. One day at a time, taking back what's rightfully mine. And doing my dance at the same time. Can't dance, snap your fingers like this. Is your strength. When problems arise, seems like there's nothing going right. Know that it's working for your good. Lift your hands up to the sky. Remember why Yahushua died. Put your trust in him and let his joy take flight. One day at a time, taking back what's rightfully mine. And doing my dance at the same time. Can't dance, snap your fingers like this. Know that the joy of the hour is your strength. Okay, family, let me get to it, okay? And I will be coming out of the Ethiopian Bible. And somebody made a comment on the last message that I delivered, and they was asking me to give chapter and verse from the lesson that I had just done. But I'm going to show you here, family. This Ethiopian Bible is not headed with chapter and verses. You see that? It's just got these headings, and this one says, going from previous pages, it says, okay, part 2, the flood, covenant, and new beginnings. And that's why I'll be starting at. But please don't get me wrong. This is not more than one part. I'm just doing this video today on this lesson. And just to show you, everybody, that it's not headed in chapters like the regular King James Version Bible or the Sefer Bible or any other Bibles, okay? So I'll just give out the headings from where I'm starting at. So if you have an Ethiopian Bible, you know, don't go by the chapters, go by the headings where I'm reading from. Like I said, this one is the flood, the covenant, and the new beginnings, okay? And we're talking about what happened to Abraham's other 7 sons. We already know that Isaac was the son of the seed, and he begot Jacob, and Jacob begot the 12 tribes of Israel. And I must add this, that I truly believe that they were all Negroes. Yazarel, okay? The 12 tribes scattered abroad in the world today. And then you got some people, like these camps, they say stuff like, as far as the 12 tribes, they got that chart, trash it, because Yah said that he was going to scatter his people into all nations. Okay, so anyway, they say that the blacks, the natives, and the Hispanics, That is not specific enough. When I first heard them saying that, I'm like, so that could be saying a whole lot of things, but it's mass confusion. It is Babylon. Babylon is confusion. And when they teach these things from those camps, and whoever else is teaching these things, the 12 tribes of Israelites are the blacks, the natives, and the Hispanics, the Native Americans and the Hispanics. I mean, all Hispanics are not from the 12 tribes of Israel. All people who go by natives, are not part of the 12 tribes of Israel. And then you say blacks. What are you saying? You're including all kind of people, so that is not specific enough. Okay, Hebrew Israelite, we're Israelite by blood because Abraham was the first Hebrew. His grandson, Jacob, y'all changed his name to Israel, okay? So Israelite is our nationality. Okay, so you got people we're awake now. We know our true identity. So why are people still now we Israelites from Yazarel in America. America is our citizenship, okay? This is where we live. We're citizens of America, and I live in Minnesota, so I'm a citizen of America in the state of Minnesota. But my identity is, I identify as a Hebrew Israelite. Hebrew by blood, Israelite is my identity, okay? That's our identity. And you got these people saying, they're still saying, Native American, what I'm saying? Okay, if you're an Israelite, say that you are. You're still putting other names in front of your identity, and that's very improper. So they're teaching these things out of these camps. The Negro Yazarel that were in Central American countries, they were enslaved. Their ancestors were enslaved in those Central American countries by other Hispanics. Just like we, Yazarel here, the Negroes here in America, we were slaves to Gentiles, to white people. You know what I'm saying? And you got Yazarel, our Negro brothers and sisters in the countries in Europe. They were slaves to white people in Europe. So when you got these camps saying the Hispanics, you got a lot of people who are Hispanic that live in Spain and Portugal who own Negro slaves. So when you're saying that, you're not being, specific enough, saying the blacks, the Native Americans, and the Hispanics. You got to be more specific than that. That confuses a lot of people. A lot of people don't know what to think, and they just continue to do it. I made comments about that, to some of them when I was on Facebook years ago, when I was just coming into living as an Hebrew Israelite, and I stopped eating all the pork and the catfish and the shrimp and all that mess. That's forbidden for Yazarel. And then I would ask him these questions. They never answered them. I was like, when you say black, Hispanic, and Native American, can you be more specific? Who are you referring to? And then you got a lot of people, Negro, Yazarel, in Central American countries, in America, in Europe, and other parts of the world, they have assimilated into whiteness, Esau. You got people all in Central American countries, South America, Africa. I've seen it on videos, people bleaching their skin, trying to be white. So a lot of Yazarel have also assimilated into whiteness. They want to be identified with Esau in 83. Be my guest. The way the sun is beaming down now, you'd be sorry you got rid of that melanin. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I just want to say that before I get off into the message, family, that they have a lot of people confused and stuff like that. If you're going to say black, Hispanics, and the Native Americans out of 12 tribes of Israel, you got to be more specific than that. It's not absolute all black people. It's not absolute all Hispanics. It's not absolute all Native Americans. Who are you talking about? Some Gentiles call themselves Native Americans with these laws that these countries came out with. Blood quantum and all that mess. You know what I'm saying? But identity, family, is our bloodline is Hebrew. Identity, we're Israelites, okay? Abraham was the first Hebrew, and his grandson, Yazarel, he's the first Israelite. So we are all Israelites, okay? We're all Israelites, and we're Hebrew by blood because of Abraham. Okay, I just want to say that, family. Okay, now what else did I want to say? Now I'll just start reading, family. Okay, from the book of Jubilees, and it's headed right here as the flood, the covenant, and the new beginnings. I want to start here. Okay, so here I go. And it says, after the flood, the sons of Noah divided the earth by lots, each portion given according to lineage. Ham assigned Cush, the eastern islands, then Mizraim put and Canaan westward. Shem's descendants received territories stretching east of the Tigris through India and the Red Sea down to the river Tina and regions of Phraknak. Asher's inheritance included Nineveh and Shinar up to the Indian border. Now, some of our people have been doing research and found that all these things happened over here in Turtle Island. Okay, I'm not going to dispute any of that. I'm just going to read scriptures. Okay, these things were done by our forefathers. Okay, that's what's important, that we understand what was decided by our forefathers. Okay, right now I'm talking about Noah and his sons, how they're dividing the lands. Okay. Arphaxad took the land of the Chaldees by the Euphrates and the regions adjoining the Red Sea. Aram's share included Mesopotamia, and Lud received mountainous lands near the Great Sea. Japheth's sons divided the northern and coastal lands with Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tyrus, each receiving islands, coastal regions, and parts of distant tongues of land. Noah made his sons swear a sacred oath to never seize another's inheritance, sealing the agreement with a curse upon any violator, to stand until the day of judgment, when Elohim will judge the earth for its uncleanness and sin. So all those people who have stolen land from Yazarel, it doesn't matter if all of us from Yazarel around the world forgive these people, still we cannot stop the curses of Yah from being handed down to them, because they made an oath right here. For the one who took land that didn't belong to him, you cursed yourself all the way up to the day of judgment. So Yah's curses and retribution and recompense against 83 is not based on Yazarel's forgiving them for what they've done. Judgment is set. Judgment is set. So 83, they got it coming whether we forgive them or not. It was not based on our forgiving them. Okay, understand that. Okay, and now it continues. It says, in the following years, demons began corrupting the children of men again, leading them into error and destruction. Noah's sons turned to him in fear, seeking deliverance from the malignant spirits. Now this is after the flood, family, okay? Noah prayed to Elohim of spirits, recalling the mercy shown during the flood and asking protection for his children, that no evil spirits might rule over them. Those evil spirits are the spirits of those Nephilim giants. They were still harassing Noah's children even back then, and they still cause a lot of trouble in the world today. They come against people's relationships, and they want people fighting each other. But if you don't understand the things of the spirit realm, like you got people in these camps, they don't believe that angels left their natural habitat in heaven, that it says about and it speaks about in the book of Jude, and they had sexual relations with women in the earth. They weren't supposed to, but 200 of them did. See, when you don't believe, you just make yourself more and more vulnerable to the unseen realm. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that's because they don't believe, because they only read out of the Bible. They follow the Roman Catholic doctrine, only 66. Some of them say 80 books, but they don't never read out of the Apocrypha either. As I continue, family. In response, Elohim commanded the binding of the evil spirits in the place of condemnation. Now, somebody made a comment on one of my in my community part. This young lady, she asked me about what's the difference between demons and evil spirits. And I explained it to her the best I knew from scripture. Okay, now here's going to speak about some of that right now. Mastema, he was the chief spirit of the Nephilim giants, okay? But Mastema, the chief of the spirits, requested a portion to remain under his influence for his purposes. Elohim permitted 1/10 of them to stay and instructed the teaching of medicine to Noah so he could protect his descendants. In that little passage that I just read, granted Mastema, the chief spirit of the Nephilim giants, he allowed 10% of them to stay on the surface of the earth, family. Okay? So that's who we fight against, in the spirit realm, okay? Noah wrote all healing knowledge in a book and entrusted it to Shem, whom he loved most. Noah lived 150 years and died on Mount Lubar. He was righteous in all his ways, surpassed only by Enoch in holiness. As time passed, Peleg, son of Eber, witnessed the building of a great city and tower in Shinar. Okay, now I'll be moving to the parts pertaining to Abraham and his 7 sons, okay? And this part right here is headlined, okay, it continues. And I'm going to start right here where it says, the command of circumcision was declared eternal and written on heavenly tablets. Only those who bear the sign belong to the Adonai's people, okay? The angels were created, circumcised, and Israel was set apart as Elohim's own. Yet it was foretold that Yazarel would neglect this ordinance, treating their bodies like the nations, provoking Elohim's wrath and facing judgment. On the new moon of the 4th month, angels appeared to Abraham at Mamre and foretold Isaac's birth. Sarah laughed, then denied it in fear. They confirmed his name as Isaac, written in the heavenly tablets. That same month, Elohim judged Sodom, Gomorrah, and their neighbors, destroying them with fire because of their great wickedness. Lot was rescued for Abraham's sake, though he later sinned with his daughters. Because of this, their descendants were cursed, and judgment upon them was recorded in heaven. Abraham moved to Gerar, then to the well of the oath. In the 6th month, Sarah conceived, and in the 3rd month of the next year, during the festival of first fruits, Isaac was born. Abraham circumcised him on the 8th day, the first to be circumcised, according to the covenant. The angels visited Abraham again and blessed him, revealing he would have 6 more sons and live to see them. Yet only Isaac's line would be holy, a people set apart for the Adonai, becoming his own possession and a kingdom of priests. So that's what the offspring, we are the offspring, the Yazarel, the offspring of Isaac. We became Yah's priests, okay? The rest would become nations among the Gentiles. Now that's telling you what became of his other 7 sons. The rest would become nations among the Gentiles. So they are counted with 83. They are counted with 83. Unless, they join with Yazarel in this truth and believe the scriptures, not just the Bible, but all the other higher learning spiritual knowledge books, as we do. All right? Now, this other part I'm about to read from, family, is called Patriarchs, Trials, and Divine Encounters. When Isaac was weaned, Abraham held a great feast. Ishmael was present, and Abraham rejoiced in his sons. But Sarah, seeing Ishmael play, grew jealous and demanded his removal, saying he would not inherit alongside Isaac. Abraham was troubled, but Elohim told him to listen to Sarah, for Isaac was the promised heir. Still, Elohim assured Abraham that Ishmael would become a great nation. Abraham gave Hagar and Ishmael provisions and sent them away. All right? In the desert, they nearly perished, but Elohim heard Hagar's cry. An angel showed her a well, and they were saved. Ishmael grew strong, became an archer, and married an Egyptian woman. That son was named Nebaioth. Okay, so Ishmael and the other sons were not a part of the seed, only Isaac. Okay, but they are Hebrews because they from the blood of Abraham, but they are not Israelites. Okay, now Jacob's offspring, his name was changed to Yazarel, Israel. We are Israelites because we are from the seed of Isaac. But them other sons, them other half brothers, they're Hebrew, but not Israelites. See, all Israelites are Hebrews, but not all Hebrews are Israelites. Okay? As I move down, it says, Sarah died in Hebron, and Abraham mourned. He requested a burial site from the sons of Heth, who offered it for free. Yet Abraham insisted on paying full price and buried Sarah in the double cave near Mamre. He was again tested and found faithful. Later he arranged for Isaac to marry Rebekah, the granddaughter of his brother Nahor. Abraham also took a wife named Keturah, who bore him 6 sons. Rebekah later gave birth to twins, Jacob and Esau. Jacob was quiet and upright, dwelling in tents, while Esau was wild and preferred the outdoors. Abraham saw in Jacob the chosen heir and instructed Rebekah to care for him. He blessed Jacob with the blessings of Adam, Shem, and Noah, foreseeing that his seed would become a holy people. And family, what makes us Yazarel holy? You read also in the book of Jubilees that Yah gave it to us to keep his 10 commandments and honor his Sabbath day, just like they're doing in heaven. This is what makes us holy. Okay, family? Keeping Yah's 10 commandments and keeping that Sabbath day holy. That makes us set apart. We're his set apart, okay? Because the rest of the world, 83, they do their own thing on Friday evenings and Saturday mornings. You know what I'm saying? But this sets us apart. Keeping his 10 commandments and the Sabbath day holy makes us holy people, okay? Near the end of his life, Abraham gathered Ishmael, Isaac, and the sons of Keturah, and all their children. He commanded them to follow Elohim's ways, practice righteousness, avoid fornication, and never marry Canaanite women. He reminded them of Elohim's judgments on the giants and the Sodomites due to their corruption. Abraham urged them to reject idols, cleave to Elohim, and live uprightly so that Elohim's blessings might rest on them. He gave gifts to Ishmael and Keturah's sons and sent them away, leaving his inheritance to Isaac, the offspring of the 12 sons of Jacob, Yazarel. Okay? Ishmael's descendants settled from Paran to Babylon, becoming the Arab peoples. But that's who they became, the Arab peoples. But as far as the people who say they are Arabs today, a lot of people believe that they're not the original Arabs. Just like those people who live in Egypt, a lot of people believe that they're not the original Egyptians because Egyptians are black people. And so, a lot of moving people around and stuff to alter things and get people to believe that they're somebody that they're not. So the whole, the Gentiles, when they became over Yazarel, when they became the head, they just messed up the whole world. So a lot of people just really don't know who they are, and they stole land and they got all these boundaries and that is not what the sons of Noah divided. That's not how they divided the land. So the Gentiles and Esau, being led by their puppet master Satan, just messed up everything. That's why I can't wait till our Father send our Messiah back, because the more you learn the truth of Yah's word and his ways, the more you see the wickedness of this world, and that everything that's set up is a lie. Christmas and Easter is all crap, fake white Jesus. Everything this system set up is a lie. The pagan, abominable Roman Catholic Church, the people who in Israel calling themselves Jews, everything they set up is just a lie. You know what I'm saying? And you trying to live in Yah's truth, but this is the reality we got to live in every day. And it's just really it's just annoying. You know what I'm saying? And, but thank you, Father Yah, for the Ruach HaKodesh to help us to get through anything. We can do all things through Yahushua HaMashiach, who strengthens us. As I continue, family, and it says here, Abraham called Isaac and gave him his final commands. He testified to a life of devotion, hating idols, and seeking Elohim's will. He instructed Isaac to avoid blood, to offer sacrifices properly, and to use only specific woods for the altar. He warned that any violation of sacrificial law brought sin. Cleanliness was to be maintained, and all blood was to be covered with dust. He warned against bribery and bloodshed, stressing justice and Elohim's holiness. Abraham urged Isaac to avoid the wickedness of men and to walk in righteousness. Avoid the wickedness of men and walk in righteousness. And that reminds me of a scripture in the book of Romans. It says, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So all that stuff that we learned in the world, and even most of the stuff that I've learned from Sunday churches and stuff like that, how we renew our minds is fill our minds up and our spiritual hearts up with as much as Yah's truth that we know it now as we can. That's how you filter out the ways of the world. You feed yourself with Yah's truth as often as possible. The more you feed yourself, the better off you will be. Okay? Not celebrating pagan holidays no more. All of that mess. Now you see, you're reading and understanding the truth, because we are awake now, thanks to our Father in the Ruach HaKodesh, and we see the lies of white Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And once upon a time, we accepted that mess. But be not conformed to the world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, family, okay? Abraham urged Isaac to avoid the wickedness of men and to walk in righteousness, promising that Elohim would raise from his line a righteous plant for all generations. He blessed Isaac to be a blessing on the earth and rejoiced as he left his presence. The people Yah put on the earth, his chosen seed, to be a blessing to the earth, but because this world is led by Satan, okay, and 83, he leads them to hate Yah's chosen people. And we're supposed to be a blessing to them, but they won't let us do that. To us, to them, we're nothing. So they curse themselves. All the time they cursing us, they curse themselves more with our Father, okay? Just like scripture says, you bless Yazarel, you shall be blessed. You curse Yazarel, you shall be cursed. In the year of Abraham's death, Isaac and Ishmael returned to celebrate the Feast of Weeks. Isaac offered sacrifices, and Rebekah sent cakes with Jacob to Abraham, who rejoiced at the gathering of his sons. He praised Elohim for a peaceful life and blessed his descendants to become a chosen nation. Abraham called Jacob and laid hands upon him, blessing him with righteousness and strength. He prophesied that Jacob's seed would become a holy nation. Talking about us, Yazarel. Served by other peoples and inherit the blessings given to Adam and Noah. And that's yet to happen. When our Messiah is sent back here, and he will rule the nations with a rod of iron in the midst of Yazarel. And then that's when all the nations will serve Yazarel. when our Messiah is sent back here to take down 83, all nations in the world, set up his own kingdom. And he's going to have the people he allowed to be in this world, in his kingdom, serving Yazrael. They will be building our houses and our homes for us. They will be working for us, just like they had us working for them for centuries in slavery, not getting paid. Okay? He warned Jacob to avoid the practices of the other nations, like we should be not doing the things that the nations are doing now. Ignoring Yah's Sabbath day, ignoring his commandments, celebrating pagan holidays. Because the word that's written right now, family, this is the word that the nations will be following when Yahushua Mashiach comes back to this earth. This word right here in these holy books, this is what we will be living by. The word of Yah is forever, for all eternity. Okay? He warned Jacob to avoid the practices of the other nations who worship the dead and false gods. False God, fake white Jesus. Okay? Muhammad, Buddha, and all of that, Hindu and all that mess. Of the sons of Keturah became the Arab people. And most of the people who call themselves Arabs, their religion is Islam. And Islam, they say, in the Islam religion, they said, God don't have a son. So they're not serving our Father Yahuwah and Yahushua HaMashiach, his only begotten Son. They're not serving the same Father Yah we're serving. Allah is not the same as the Most High Yahuwah. So they're serving a false God, But they were blessed with all that oil. So, Yah told Hagar that her son will become a blessed nation, and he told Abraham that Ishmael will become a blessed nation. And if they are the true Arabs, the people that got all that oil, they are blessed, but they're serving a false God. Okay? Abraham instructed Jacob not to marry a Canaanite woman, for all Canaan's line would be destroyed due to Ham's transgression. Idol worshippers would descend into Sheol without remembrance. But Jacob was to be preserved, and the house of Abraham built would bear his name forever. Abraham proclaimed Jacob's name would endure, his seed sanctified and blessed by Elohim. As they lay together, Abraham kissed Jacob and blessed him, calling on the Most High to preserve and sanctify him and his descendants for all generations. That includes us, family, Yazrael, worldwide. He ended with praise for the Creator who had led him from Ur and promised him an everlasting inheritance. Okay, family, so that's all for the reading of Isaac was of the blessed seed, what became of Abraham's other 7 sons. And I just read that, they were mingled in with the other Gentile nations. They were mingled in with the other nations. So that's what they are. They are part of 83. And our Negro ancestors, was really Yazrael, but because of our ancestors' sin, we were slaves in every nation, not just America and Central America and South America. Our people were slaves worldwide for our ancestors' sin, and we have paid the price and the penalty of those sins because they had cursed their generations with all the sins that they had committed. But still, Scripture says in the book of Enoch that the nations, also called the 70 shepherds, described as beasts, kites, and birds and stuff, they did way more against the seed, which we're called sheep in that passage in the book of Enoch, and they killed way more of our people than Yah had authorized them to do so. They stole our lands, all the land that Yah had given us, they have stolen it. So Yazrael, we don't have a land right now. And they stole identity, but now we have identity back. We know who we are. But that being said, Yah's judgments are on all nations. 83. Okay? All of those who are not holding on to his truth, keeping his commandments, and honoring his Sabbath day, as Yazarel, we the remnant are, they will face Yah's judgments, and they have already begun with this heat all over the world in different places. And now I'm in the Midwest, and we're starting to get this dome of heat, and so, my people, Yazarel, just hunker down and stay in the air conditioning if you got it, so Yah's judgments are directed toward those who have been oppressing us. Okay, so that's who you see falling off like flies because of all this heat. But anyway, this is only just the beginning for their judgment, retribution, and recompense for all the horror and the things that they have done to Yah's chosen people, the world called Negroes. Okay, family? So that's all I have for this message right here. So until next time, family, may Yah bless each and every last one of you. Stay safe, one love, and I do love each and every last one of my brothers and sisters in Yah. Shalom.